What's up, everybody? So Blizzard just released a new blue post with some pretty cool class changes. To start off with, Mage's Living Flame now benefits from and consumes Arcane Blast. This is a nice little buff to Arcane. It changes your pre-pull to, instead of using Living Flame off the bat, you would now actually stack Arcane Blast to 4 stacks and then pop Living Flame because it will be snapshotted by the 60% increased arcane damage. This isn't a massive buff, but it should definitely bridge the gap between Arcane and Fire Mage right now. Next up, we have a small PvP nerf to Paladin. The Revenger's Shield movement slow is now properly considered a snare and can be removed by effects that remove movement and parrying effects. Something that comes to mind is gnomes using Escape Artist, but that doesn't really work because Paladins are on Alliance side, so maybe there's something I'm missing, but a small PvP nerf for sure. And then also, their mana granted by Seal of Martyrdom to party and raid members has been increased. Seal of Martyrdom now grants all party and raid members 20% of damage the Paladin takes from the seal. That is a 100% increase from 10%. So basically a pretty nice buff to mana generation given by Paladins to their raid members. Moving on to Rogue, Blade Dance has been updated to grant 10% parry at all ranks, rather than increasing parry chance per combo point. The only effect of more combo points now is increased duration. This is a desperately needed quality of life buff to rogue tanking. I think they need more than this honestly, but this is a good step in the right direction. Rogues need some more love, and I respect them quite a bit because they always love to do it from behind. Anyways, moving on to Shaman now. Mana granted by Shamanistic Rage to party and raid members has been increased, and then Shamanistic Rage now grants party and raid members 20% of the mana gained by the Shaman. This is a 100% increase from 10%. This is very similar to the buff from Paladin. It's kinda cute that Blizzard is buffing the two counterpart classes equally. I've been hearing that Shaman has been having quite a bit of mana issues. From the wording of the post, it may not increase the actual Shaman's mana regen, but if it does, then this will likely be a pretty nice buff for them. Worst comes to worst, the party and raid members of the Shaman will have some more mana regen if they choose to run this rune. Alright, enough about the class changes. I mean, they're cool and all, but like, who asked? The most interesting part of this post, which you may have accidentally skimmed over as a footnote, is that there's 2 new tailoring recipes being added to the game. They will be the Invoker's Cord and the Invoker's Mantle, both of which will grant additional spell damage and healing. For all of my Warlock homies out there, especially Alliance side, keep an eye out on the Invoker's Mantle. Hopefully this will be able to contest with the Horde side only Frayed Chestnut Mantle and be comparable to Magician's Mantle, which on my server is still like frickin' 40 gold. If this new recipe is at least 4 or 5 spell power and comes with some intellect, then it will be able to compete with the 2 other shoulder options available. The belt is also a potentially awesome item because currently there isn't many good options for casters' belts. You can run some cringe green belt for an increased fire damage like Fire Duster Warlock does, but there isn't even a belt from the raid with increased spell power at all. Basically, these 2 new tailoring items could be best in slot, or at least contend with other BiS pieces in their respective equipment slots. I am also very curious to see how expensive they will be to craft. If I were to guess, I would imagine they will be similar to Spider Silk Boots, where it is slightly pricey, but not super expensive by any means. Regardless, I hope that casters will be pleasantly surprised by 2 new awesome pieces so that we can keep up with the disgusting melee in BFD. But I think that just about covers everything. Thank you all for watching, feel free to like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to keep pumping and being Nukinfutz.